Good day, Minecraftians. Purple Mentat here, bringing you episode 63 of my Agrarian Skies Hardcore Quest Let's Play. This gamepack by Jadedcat is available on the Feed the Beast launcher. Last time, I got that multi-farm set up, and I set up a system to automatically repair the pickaxe of the core that's in my arcane bore in the nether, gathering dirt for me. Huh, there's a spider over there. Not for long. Die, spider. Don't know where he came from, but I know where he's gone. Alright, this time, I want to progress on some other quests, because I've been chasing the dirt chain for a while, and honestly, it's flowing in at a pretty good click at this point. I've gained 2 in the past, quadruple compressed dirt in the past couple of hours, just letting my multi-farm run and keeping my arcane bore on task. So I'm going to focus on a different quest. And that quest is in the end. When I completed for the hoarding quest, even more storage, I unlocked one of the quests in the end, the industrialist. And to complete this quest is mostly fairly trivial. Reactor casings, scorched bricks, energetic infusers, and magnetic dynamos. None of that's interesting. I'll get all of that crafted off camera. What is interesting is block of titanium. That is a item from mariculture. And I've been going back and forth on exactly how I want to do this. There's an easy way, and there's a fun way. The easy way would be to create titanium out of titanium grains from extra bees, which come from titanium cones, from impregnable queens, which you can get by combining noble with resilient, and resilient is found by combining imperial with robust. So it would only be 2 breeding chains, and I would have titanium producing bees, but I'm not going to do that. That's boring. We've done enough bees. As much as I love the little buggers, but it's time to work on actually building a mariculture titanium factory. And that's why I have a ton of stone in my inventory. I'm going to build myself a 3rd layer to this little factory here, and I'm going to set up titanium production completely automated up here. So once I have the actual room built, I'll be back to show you how that's going to start. All right, here's the room that I'm going to be building my mariculture automation in. And I'm running some power and some, oops, I don't need both of those, do I? There. Running some power and some ME network access up through the floor in the corner there. This chandelier is providing enough of a no spawn area that nothing can spawn up here, while still giving me a nice creepy industrial feel of just barely enough light to see where you're going. I kind of like it. So, what's our first step with mariculture? Well, normally I'd say that you'd want to go and, go fishing and collect a bunch of fish, start some fish breeding, get some fish oil, but we're really not going to need to get into that for our titanium production. Instead, we're going to need to get ourselves a collection of vats. Vats are made with 7 invar in that little pattern right there. And I'm going to teach my system how to make vats because I'm not entirely certain how many I'm going to need. I want the ability to order them on demand. I'm running out of pages worth of recipes in my molecular assembler chamber. It might be time to expand this further, which I can easily add another layer or 2 here without crowding things too much. Okay, so to start off, I'm going to grab 3 vats. I have the 1, 2, 3. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to take these upstairs. I want to lay these out such that I'm inputting lava into the vats, and I'm going to want to input some items as well. I'm going to be able to do all of this with my applied energistics system, actually. So let me grab some fluid export buses. Do I want to use a fluid export buses? I want to use 1 fluid export bus and then some fluid ducts, because that makes more sense to me in the long run. So I'm going to set up the vats along here. Just like that should work, I think. Yeah, that'll work out just fine. I'm going to set my fluid ducts in the back as soon as I find them. Here we go. 1, 2, 3 of those. I want a portable tank right here. And my fluid export bus is going to be on top of that. And that's what I'm going to need to set to lava. And my amine cable is going to come straight up to the ceiling. Well, actually just below the ceiling, because my power is going to run along the ceiling. I'm not certain where and when I'm going to need the power, but I know I'm going to need a lot of the ME cable. All right. Come down here, get myself a bucket of lava. I have 25,000 buckets of lava at the moment. I'm pretty sure that will last me a while. And let's see about bricks. Can I craft brick? Yes, I can. Good, because I'm going to need quite a bit of brick. So, how do I want to go about this? I think I want to use 3 hoppers. There we go. And I want these hoppers to be set to input to the top of my system, of my vats. Set you to lava. And set the tank to output. This will fill the vats with lava. Now, the reason I need to put bricks into vats of lava, if I grab some bricks, I can show you. If I put 1 brick into a vat of lava, it will start to cook. You can see it cooking in there. And that will slowly produce for me, you know what? I want an interface right there. Yeah, that'll be good. While that cooks up, and once it's done, I can show you. When the particle effects end, I believe that's when you know it's ready. So, while that continues, I'm going to grab my impulse item ducts, a few of those, and 3 servos. We're going to set that one to nothing. All right. As you can see, I produced 3 burnt brick. And these are the basic building block of most mariculture. I could use nether bricks for this just as well as regular bricks. Regular brick takes 16 seconds and 500 millibuckets of lava, or half a bucket. Nether brick takes half the time and half the lava. So let's see what my collection of nether brick looks like. I don't have any. So, how about instead I look at I can smelt netherrack. Or, yeah, that's my only option. I can smelt netherrack to get nether brick. I'm currently using all of my netherrack in my... Well, actually, you know what? I have like 5 of these singularities at this point. I can probably take netherrack out of that and instead output it somewhere else. Maybe on demand, maybe not. Let me set up a redstone furnace to cook me up a whole bunch of nether... You know what? No, I'll cook it... I'll cook it manually by coming up and putting, you know, stacks and stacks of it at a time into the various redstone furnaces. And then I'll have my export buses set to just always put lots of nether bricks into the hoppers. So let me get that started. As I was thinking about it, I changed my mind again. I'm going to set 1 netherrack to 1 nether brick in a pattern and tuck it into my crafting on demand furnace, because I don't expect I'll be making a ton of this stuff most of the time. And it'll save me on needing to cook up the clay into bricks. That way I don't have to, well, actually, you know what? Part of this process, I'm going to need to remove that clay from that precision export bus. We'll get into why in just a little bit. Won't take much longer. And I've changed my mind on the hoppers as well, because I realized that they're really superfluous and they will actually actively harm what I'm doing here. So, get these exporting directly into the vats. Tell them to export any nether bricks that come up. That way, any nether brick that enters my system will be immediately converted into burnt brick. And I don't think that there is much other use for nether brick. No, there is not. Therefore, I am perfectly happy converting it into burnt brick. Now, let's set 3 furnaces worth of nether rack cooking into nether bricks right away. And that'll get me a few stacks worth of burnt bricks to go work with. And each one of these vats can hold 1 full stack at a time. Now, you can combine vats into a larger footprint. For example, if I were to grab a vat, well, if I were to grab 4 vats and put them together like this, they will combine into... Oh, I accidentally put a vat in a vat. There we go. There we go. It will turn into a single vat that is 2 by 2 and can hold significantly more. Problem is, you can still only put 1 stack of items at a time in there, so if you want to cook the items faster, you really need to use the... What do you call it? These things. Single vats. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about, really, I swear. Now, I'm going to whitelist burnt brick, because if you don't, then the item ducts will happily pull out the nether brick that I have put in there, which that would not be helpful at all. And I'm going to set these to output. If I pay attention to my terminal and take a look at burnt brick, I have a handful of it coming in now. Fantastic. So why did I want the burnt brick? Well, it's kind of the basic building block of all mariculture. It'll make me my brick construction blocks, my crucible furnace, my blacksmith's anvil, my ingot caster, my block caster, and my blacksmith's hammer, all of which are essential. It's also useful to make the basic materials and processing mariculture book, which will have a lot of the information you need to create this titanium system that I'm going to be building. So, what's the next step? Well, if I want titanium, specifically the ingots, there we go. I need to combine... Well, I need to get molten titanium into an ingot caster or a block caster. The molten titanium is created by combining molten magnesium and impure molten titanium in a vat. To get the impure molten titanium, I need to cook down rutile ore in a crucible furnace. So, I need to get a crucible furnace as my next step. To make the crucible furnace requires some burnt bricks, fluid tanks, which you should remember how to make. If you don't, there it is. A lava bucket, a brick construction block, which is made with iron bars and burnt bricks, and some heating components, which are made with the silicon carbide. To make silicon carbide requires coal, sand, and clay blocks. And this is why I had to take the clay out of my furnace, because that way it won't automatically cook up on me. So I'm going to teach my system how to craft some of these items, and I'll be back in a moment. I have now taught my system how to make the crucible furnace, the heating components, silicon carbides, and the brick construction block. So if I go grab a crucible furnace out of my system, it should automatically craft everything else that I need. Let's take a look. It's missing the fluid tank. It doesn't actually know how to craft that one. And that one's going to be a complicated one that I'm going to have to teach it the exact right planks and copper to use. So, be right back. Here we are. I have 4 crucible furnace blocks and 2 fluid tanks, which is going to be enough to set up 2 crucible furnaces. And to do that, I'm actually going to set up a magma crucible to supply power to them, because crucible furnace, they need power, and the power I want to use is going to be liquefacted coal. And I'm going to make that by accepting on the top, exporting on the bottom, supplying some power to, well, I suppose this side. Got a little bit of a mess going on, but honestly, part of the fun is the tangled mess of wires, I feel. And I'm going to tell it to give it pulverized coal and to go ahead and craft items if it needs to. There we go. And because the crucible furnaces will happily run off of liquefacted coal, as long as there is a mariculture fluid tank underneath. So, set up 2 crucible furnaces on top of each tank, and they form into the proper, they form into a bit of a multi-block structure. And the one that has power, it begins burning immediately. I'm going to get the other one powered now by running my coal line right there. Fantastic. Alright, So those are going to get up to temperature. And to make them, well, we're going to set this to disabled. These 3 slots are for upgrades. If I want to make it use the power as efficiently as possible, well, I'm going to need to give it some heating upgrades. And to make the ultimate heating upgrade requires titanium, so I'm not going to be able to do that quite yet. Luckily, it also uses the advanced heating upgrade, which can be made with iron. Oh, also requires titanium. Standard heating upgrade? That one I can make. That doesn't take much, just some heating components, some aluminum, and the basic heating upgrade, which is made with heating components and iron. So, I'm going to get my hands on some heating components. Back in a moment. Alright, as you can see, I taught my system to make some standard heating upgrades. These do not stack, so make sure you're ready to use them once you grab them out. Going to take these upstairs, plug them into my furnaces, which are getting up to speed rather quickly. Now, to use the Crucible furnace, it's a simple matter of inputting the right items and exporting the fluid. In this case, I want to import limestone into one of them. And don't worry about the fact that I only have 51. I'm going to be getting more of it. And I want to put the rutile ore into another. I'm going to need some basic export bus. And I'm not sure, but I might be able to input into the side. Let's find out. Yes, I can. Fantastic. So as this burns up, which requires 825 degrees and produces 900 millibuckets of it. I mean, when it burns up, it will produce 900 millibuckets of quicklime per limestone. The nether rutile, on the other hand, as you can see, has a melting point of 1662 degrees and will produce 288 millibuckets of impure molten titanium, or about 2 ingots worth, along with a 50% chance for limestone. So now I just need to wait patiently while all of this gets up to speed. In the meantime, oops, I didn't actually want to put that in there quite yet. I wanted to set you off there. There we go. Very happiness. This guy's already producing. Fantastic. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting up a few more vats. And I'm going to need some fluid export buses to make this really work. So, get me some fluid export bus. I need 3 of them for this. There we go. And I'm going to want to trade out my lava bucket for a water bucket. Whoops. Coming off of the Crucible furnace, if you set up a fluid duct, it will happily, when you tell it to auto-eject fluids, output the quicklime into the fluid duct. I believe, though, that I need to... or maybe it won't. Hang on just a moment. Let me see if powering it works. I saw that auto-export config, and I made the natural assumption that it would happily export into a fluid duct. It does not. There we go. So you do have to power it. Even set to auto-eject fluids does not quite work. However, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to set up 3 fluid export buses, all configured to do water, 3 vats, and there we go. Now I just need to hook the fluid export buses into my applied energistics system. As we can see, input 1 of quicklime, input 2 of water, and the 2 together will produce some form of dust. Most of the time, it will be what I'm looking for, which is the magnesium, but not all of the time. So let's watch and wait. You can have up to 6,000 millibuckets per input, I believe. And as every one of these is producing 300 millibuckets per vat, and it needs 4,000 millibuckets to produce the magnesium, there's going to be quite a bit of waiting involved. So I'm going to let this work its magic for a little while. In the meantime, well, it's time to extract whatever items come out of this, isn't it? There's a reason I wanted a whole room for this build. I knew it was going to be messy and a giant spaghetti of pipes. A lot of fun. Very much enjoying mariculture automation so far, when combined with thermal expansion anyway. Here we go. This is almost there. All right, yeah, it's going to take quite a while before I have the kind of quicklime that I need. I wonder, can you do 2 at a time? No, you cannot. That's a shame. If I want to get more limestone, besides waiting for the this guy to get to... Oh, he's at... There. Now he's at max. It can't do 2 at a time, though. That's potentially an... Oh, maybe it can. Maybe it's just this one wasn't happy with it. That's pretty fantastic. It can happily do 2 at a time. So if I want more limestone, besides waiting for these guys to process and getting a 50% chance of limestone on each one, by the way, I'm going to need to set up an import bus to get that limestone out of there, but that's simple enough. Overpowered hijinks with applied energistics. There we go. Where is... What is going on here? Oh, you know what? That ain't gonna work. It's trying to pull out the rutile. Okay. That's pretty funny. I guess those slots are exposed. So, I need a precision import bus. And I'm going to need to wait until I actually... Well, I can grab a bit of limestone from here to do it. So I set down the precision export bus, and I tell it to only grab limestone. And now it'll leave the rutile ore alone and allow it to slowly get back up to temperature and start melting again. In the meantime, as soon as that processes through, we should get our first bit of something. I'm actually going to shut these off just so that I can show you that on camera. While that's working, I'm going to get myself, you guessed it, more vats. I should only need the one more, though, I believe. So, I'm going to need another vat, and I'm going to place this one, I think right here will be good. Yeah, right there. And this vat is going to get a basic import bus stuffed on the side of it because... Oh, no, actually it's not. Nope, not going to do that. Don't get ahead of myself now. There we go. I have 4 ingots of impure molten titanium there. So I'm going to set up a fluid duct coming off of here. No, not quite yet. I need to grab a cover before I do that. I have a lot of different covers, but we'll use this block of quartz cover. Toss it on there so that my fluid duct chains do not cross. And I'm going to tell you to not be a thing at all. Now we're going to export that titanium into this vat. Perfect. And now I have a little bit of magnesium dust came out of my... Hang on. Came out of this vat. Fantastic. So I set these to export now. They'll do those all on their own. And I set up one more crucible furnace. Because... in caps lock, because cruise control for cool. And I'm also going to need another fluid tank so that I can power the thing. And as long as I'm at it, I'll give it 3 heating upgrades. All right, where was my crucible furnace? There we go. So the crucible furnace is going to go there, just like that. It is going to have some applied energistics inserting the magnesium dust into it with a basic export bus. There we go. Now this magnesium dust, melting point of 650 degrees. will guarantee that I get salt out of it every time, and will give me 1 ingot of molten magnesium. That molten magnesium plus 1 ingot of impure molten titanium will give me 1 ingot of molten titanium. So, almost done now. All we need to do is give that guy fuel off of my magma crucible, which is producing liquefacted coal. Let it get up to temperature, which the upgrade that I'm about to grab will help with. Grab 3 of those. And set up a fluid duct to export out of this crucible furnace. There we go. The quicklime and the water is reacting over here to produce me more magnesium, if I'm lucky. If I take a look here, indeed, I did get more magnesium. Or maybe I did not. If I take a look at dust, it should show me... I believe that the vat with the quicklime has a chance of producing nickel or cobalt instead. If I look at my basic materials and processing, created with a burnt brick and a book, and I scroll over to this area, yep, this will most likely give you molten magnesium, but if you have mods that add cobalt or nickel, you may get these instead. So, there we go. Alright, now it's just a matter of waiting and letting this get enough to turn into... Well, I need the magnesium to get up to temperature is what I really need. So I'm going to let this run for a little while, let the magnesium start melting, and I'll show you the ingot caster. Well, actually, I can build the ingot caster while we wait, can't I? Ingot caster. You know what? I need a block of titanium. We'll go straight to the block caster. The block caster is made with burnt bricks, which is why I wanted a system to create a fair bit of them. In a chest pattern. Very simple. And all I need to do to have the block caster work is I need to wait until I have pure titanium that I can pull out so I can filter it, which that's going to be a little bit of time until I can do that. But as soon as I can, all I need to do is run a line from here to there. And you know what? I've got an idea. I'm fairly certain that if I grab a tank and I put some of this impure molten titanium into it, not all of it, just a little, then I'll be able to blacklist that. No, because the magnesium will still need to be blacklisted. So I can just wait. I have patience. Back soon. Alright, I've let things run for a little while. I now have impure molten titanium in there as well as regular old molten titanium. So I'm going to hope it extracts the molten titanium, but I don't really have a good way to control that at the moment. Let's see what comes out. And we got molten titanium. Fantastic. So now I can... Uh-oh. Except I got a ton of impure as well. I don't know why I'm getting such terrible FPS at the moment. It might be... Might just need to do a computer restart. I've been putting her through her paces today. So I'm going to take this upstairs. I'm going to grab a bucket of that molten titanium. Maybe. It's not going to let me grab a bucket of molten titanium. Oh, that might be an issue. Nope, the only options are bottles. Okay, well, how do I make a bottle of molten titanium? I need an empty bottle, which is made from heat-resistant glass. No problem. I can do that. Heat-resistant glass is glass in a vat of... molten aluminum and quicklime. You know what? That's okay. I don't care. Because I'm just going to set up my block caster. I'm going to dump what I have right into there. I don't want the block caster right there, though. I want it right here. So that will be good for the moment. And now I can stop you. Put the resonant portable tank down here. Collect the rest of the impure molten titanium out of there. There we go. And I can set you to output that into this tank as it goes. Awesome. Now, let me look into a better way to get the molten titanium out of there. Alright, so if I want heat-resistant glass, and I do, I needed another crucible furnace, and it needs aluminum. So I tossed it into the empty space that I had, and I'm just going to give it a couple of stacks of aluminum to burn up. I'm not going to bother automating this one because I don't expect to use that much of it. However, I will upgrade it because I upgrade everything. No sense in having it set up if I'm not going to upgrade it, in my opinion. Plenty of salt. I'm going to need to set up a precision import bus to grab that salt out of there. Wonder what molten salt can be used for. That's a weird one. Molten salt. Not very useful. Okay. So, I'm going to want a fluid duct there, and I'm going to want it to not output into my resonant portable tank there. I'm going to want a cover, or a few, most likely. So I'll just grab these paved whitestone covers for the time being. There. And there. Good thing I'm not at... Whoops. That's the wrong kind of duct. Set you there, there. Whoops. That was a mistake. Quick. Stop. There. Fantastic. Now I just need to make sure that you're not outputting to there or there. And when I want more molten aluminum, I can come over and dump it in manually. So I'm going to wait for that to heat up. And once it does, I'll be back to make myself some heat-resistant glass. Alright, here we go. We have molten aluminum and quicklime in here. Just need to toss in a little bit of glass, and it'll start cooking into heat-resistant glass. I have this item duct right here, set to blacklist glass. Currently set on redstone signal high, so it's not actually outputting, because I wanted to... Something weird happened, didn't it? It was a little odd. Anyway, set that to ignored. And once the heat-resistant glass is ready, it should output. If I take a look at heat-resistant glass, it takes a little bit of time to cook. 15 seconds per... It uses 1 aluminum and 900 millibuckets of quicklime, or 1 block of limestone. I'm going to need to set up a sand sifter just to have enough limestone for this to continue. That is if I want a whole bunch more out of it, which I kind of do. I have a lot of rutile to go through, so why not? Okay, one last thing. That rutile can be produced from the nether rutile that I have with a little bit of sand in an induction smelter. Or if you sieve limestone, you have a decent chance of getting it. I don't know what your other options are from sieving limestone. That's it. So it's not really worth it. Okay. Everything's all set up now. Fantastic. Let's take a look at glass. We ought to have a little bit of heat-resistant glass. I'm going to need at least one more. But I'm actually going to do a whole stack of it because I can. Now, I believe I remember that you can, if I take off my chest piece and turn off magnet, toss things directly into the vat. That does not seem to be the case. Anyway, you can right-click up to a stack at a time in there. It will only process one item at a time. But there we go. So I'm going to be back in about, what's 15 times 64? 9,000 seconds? 900-ish. Anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes when I have the heat-resistant glass I need to continue. Alright, now that I have my heat-resistant glass, I can make myself 3 empty bottles, each of which holds twice the content of a glass bottle. And if I bring these upstairs, I should be able to, theoretically, right-click on this block caster full of molten titanium and draw out a bottle of molten titanium, which I can then use to set up a filter of molten titanium. Fantastic. That is going to be the whitelist filter. I'm going to put this back in there, which does not use the bottle, which is nice. And I'm going to set that to output. Awesome. Hopefully that block caster will process soon. Have a bit of snack while I wait. That is really not a fast process, is it? There we go. And here I have it. One titanium block. Fantastic. So, that's going to wrap us up for today, folks. From zero to automated titanium production in one episode. I am probably going to set up a sand sieve system to get myself some more limestone and get some more of that titanium, because I can do some interesting things with the titanium. Not the upgrades in particular. In fact, can I right-click this block caster? No. Can't actually add upgrades to that. But I believe it's used to make jewelry? Anyway, there's some neat things that I'm going to be able to do with mariculture now that I have some titanium production set up. So, I'm probably going to do a little bit of that. In between episodes, I'm going to make everything else that I need from the quest in the end. The reactor casings, scorched bricks, energetic confusers, and magmatic dynamos. And next time, I will hand this quest in, as well as, well, let's take a look at our dirt to see where we're at. Still at 38, so it's not moving super fast. It's probably time to go change the orientation on the arcane boar. So do that real quick. Need my flight potion in the nether. Really happy with blood magic. Yep, arcane boar dug a nice long channel this away for me. So you don't need to actually chunk load the entire line that it's going to dig, but you do need to chunk load the boar itself. It doesn't affect directly next to it. So what I can do, actually, is I can move this Essentio mirror. Sooner or later. It is not a quick mine, and I was flying, which makes it take significantly longer. Stick that there, and set you to face there. Get to work. Maybe? Huh. Why are you not exporting? I'm going to have to sort out why that's happening, because that should be working. This is the exact sort of place it should work. Anyway, I'll figure out why that's not working off camera and report back next time. So, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know. If you have not, please leave a thumbs down. Tell me why. And I will see you next time.